Hi guys. This is a moving company, 2 words, month end. So life is kind of kicking my butt this week. So Mike Allen's interview was at our midweek cafe was really appropriate because he said, regular life always continues despite what your own goals are. That has never been truer for me than this week. So I might actually have to rely on notes a little bit for this video because my brain is full. So a few things about Molina's approach to fiction that really got me thinking about my own approach to fiction was when he says, "You are at once the writer and the reader of a mystery novel and the clever detective in search of the clue to the puzzle." So he's right. Stories are all around us, and I like to write them down because what's all around us is the mystery of the unknown. And if I'm writing a story, even if I'm just inventing it, then I'm in control and the unknown is uncontrollable. But I believe his approach is character-centric versus situation-centric. If that's even the right terminology, I'm just kind of making it up. Because it sounds like people are his inspiration. He says, "Out of the odds and ends we pick up from their gestures or the intonation of their voices, we try to guess a part of a story which is veiled behind their silence or behind the literal meaning of the words they utter." So he's looking at people and getting stories from people, it sounds like. But I don't actually look at the characters first. I only come to know them as I write about them. It's a bit of a which came first, the chicken or the egg scenario. I don't think, here's this strong woman. She could save the town from a flood. I flood the town and then see what the woman does. You know what I mean? Like, that's just the way I do it. So I read Dorothy Allen's interview, and I think Dorothy Allison, and I think she's like Molina. She, when asked, "How do you come to plot? What is plot? Your definition?" She says, "Something happens, something real." And that echoed Molina for me. But like in Lori's discussion, she used Molina's quote about suspension of disbelief. Molina evolved from being enamored with fiction to feeling a lot differently about it. And I thought that was really interesting that there was a transition for him. He says, "When I was young, I thought that an experience had literary value as long as it could be used as the point of departure for a work of fiction. Now I say to myself that fiction is a kind of last resort. You should write a novel only when what you have to tell cannot be told otherwise." Myself, I'm still enamored with fiction, and it's not that he thinks fiction is bad, but it's just changed for him. It's based on something. His process starts out differently, something more real. And that, I think Dorothy Allison really was very similar to Molina in that respect. She said, when she was asked, "Do your characters unveil plot for you?" She answered basically, yes. "I see the person and what happens is implicit in the person." And that's not my process at all. So my experience as a reader of fiction has influenced how I'm a writer because I like situation-centric stories. That's not to say I haven't got sucked into good character-driven stories. Like, for example, Diana Gabaldon's Outlander series is very character-driven. However, there's the time travel situation. And I don't think I would have read it if it wasn't for the time travel. And so I like to read series. Same characters, different situations. I'm all about the situation, I guess. And I think that's kind of the difference between what is considered literary and what is considered genre fiction. But maybe that's a bit ahead of myself. We'll talk about that more next week. So I don't think my personal writing process has evolved exactly. What's evolving is how I frame my personal writing experience. Like this week, I realized I'm putting the situation first and the character evolves from that situation. I don't go into it with the character. It's just, characters I want my characters to have a compelling situation, as we all do, but that's what comes first for me. And characters, although you want to write great characters in those situations, for me, it's just not about characters and their personal relationships. It's about situations. So anyhow, maybe it's my personal insecurities, but I always seem to focus in on what other writers like Dorothy Allison says about, for example, she talks about writer's block. She said, what I didn't understand was that, at least for me, writer's block is about completely losing confidence in your ability to do it all. And I think I've had a little bit of that this week. I'm still doing my 15 minutes a day. I'm 12,000 words now, but this week, that 15 minutes has been the hardest 15 minutes that I've spent the whole week. Like, even Mike Allen had said in the midweek cafe video that you need emotional energy for creativity, and I'm a little bit depleted this week, and so maybe this video is long and scattered, so sorry about that. But anyhow, those were my thoughts on Melina, and I read Dorothy Allison's, I forget her name, Dorothy Allison's interview. Thanks so much.